everybody, this is Jason Ricci back with another free harmonica YouTube lesson. I want to say thanks to everybody who's been supporting me here on the channel, and I'm happy to have this month off and be able to get a couple more videos out, hopefully before it's done. Yeah, I've been also posting these videos on my Patreon site, and I appreciate all the support that you guys have been with the PayPal contributions and everything. So anyway, today's lesson is going to be on the subject of 12th position, which Howard Levy also calls first flat. I don't know why he calls it that. So, like, I'm not saying it's absurd. I'm saying I don't understand. That's what I'm saying. When we hear about 12th position, well, I should say when I first heard about 12th position, it sounded hard because it sounded like the black belt of positions, like it's 12, like there's 12 keys, right? It's the last position, then it must be really, really hard, right? If first position is easy, then 12th position must be really, really hard. So I first was introduced to this position because of a guy named Carlos Del Junco, a great Canadian harmonica player, and I think it was a Fats Waller tune called the Jitterbug Waltz, where I first realized that this was something I needed to try to learn. It's a great position for playing, at least how I'm going to teach it today and how I primarily use it is I look for a tune that's really major sounding. In other words, that has regular major chords, or even better, major 7 chords. So I find this position much prettier to play in than first or second for those kind of things. I prefer to use a lower harp in this position, so if I'm in a situation where I need to use a D or an E or an F harp in 12th, I'm probably not going to pick 12th. So first of all, let's talk about how to figure out what harp to pick up. So there's probably a better academic way than what I'm going to tell you. Okay, but this is the way that I always remembered it. So I just imagine what key I would pick up if I was playing in cross, and then I move up a whole step. So if the band is in D, all right, I would use a G harp in cross. So then I'll just go up to an A harp, because one after G is A. So if the band was in E, and I would normally use an A harp, I would go up to a B harp. So I'd skip B flat because it's only a half step and go one whole step up to an A harp. Okay, if the band was in F and I would normally use a B flat, I would go up to a C sharp or a D flat, same thing. Okay, so I just imagine what harp would be cross, what I would normally pick up for cross, and then I move up one whole step. And then I grab that key. So that's the first step, and for me is the hardest part about learning a position is just knowing which harmonica to grab, because if I can know that, then I can actually get busy doing it. So that's one little trick. Like I said, you could probably use the circle of fifths to find a better way than that, but that's my roundabout, longer, harder way of finding it, but to me it makes sense, so I just do it. The first thing you need to learn when you learn this position is the scale, the major scale, okay? This position, it seems tough in the beginning. Okay, so it seems really hard because the bottom octave. You know, your first note, your tonic or your root note, your D, in this case, I'm using an A harmonica in the key of D, is on the 2-draw double bend. So that's home bass, Okay, got that double bend, so that's weird, right? Like if you're used to just, okay, but it's not hard, it's just weird. It's just weird to get used to hanging out there, okay? But once you kind of get past that, it gets a little easier, okay? So dig it. So I'm gonna play 2-draw double bend, then 2-draw. Do, re, mi. Gonna go up to 3-draw double bend. And then 3-draw half step bend. Then 4 blow, then 4 draw, and then 5 blow, and then 5 draw for the octave. So just in review, I'm going to play 2-draw double bend, 2 draw, 3 draw double bend, 3 draw half step bend, 4 blow, 4 draw, 5 blow, 5 draw, and that gives me the first octave of the major scale. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now, at first, the bending thing on the bottom, it's really hard, right? Like, because it's like a lot of bending and it's a lot of like accurate bending to make it sound pretty. So it's gonna be like daunting, but here's the good news, okay? Everything that makes it horrible in the beginning, right? Everything that makes it awkward and difficult and all of that is the same stuff that's gonna make it really beautiful and expressive and fun later, right? Because you're gonna be able to go like, and that really deep sound. So like, like if I was in first position, right, in D, trying to play that, or even worse in the middle octave. It's okay, but like a lot of the key notes land on blow notes. And I really can't get that much expression out of that as compared to, what I can do in the bottom. Now, even worse than first in this position would be cross, I got 2 draw. That was terrible. 2 draw, 3 draw double bend, 4 blow, and then that 5 overblow. So I can't get the. I can make it as pretty as I can, Now I will play the major scale and cross sometimes, but I hit that major 7 note as like a passing note, Or I try to disguise it with a little. Alright, so anyway, I like 12th position if you can't tell. So I'm trying to sell it because that's what we're learning, okay? So it's cool. It's cool. So once I get that, okay, Now the second octave's a little harder, okay? Because actually it's a little easier, but I got one overblow, okay? So I have starting on 5 draw, which is the same note as my 2 draw double bend. Ah, there it is. Okay, so a little out of practice up there, huh? So dig it though, right? I can. It's a lot of fun to play in the second octave in this position because it's kind of like third in the second octave of the harp, that is, or the second octave of the scale. But it's like it's really easy because that one overblow is a lot easier than dealing with those bends. I know to some of you guys at home, the overblow, oh man, it's so hard. But here's the thing about overblowing, right? It is hard to learn, right? But once you learn it, it's way easier than bending, okay? So it's like, cause you know, the pitch is relatively like already in tune, just the slightest adjustment. And it's just beautiful. Okay, so anyway, let's look at like how easy this is. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to YouTube. I searched D major jam tracks and I pulled up like the first or second thing that came up. So I'm just gonna blow the major scale over this. Just listen to it for a second. Here come the chords, I think. Okay. Now it sounds major, right? Okay, here we go. So I'll just blow the major scale. Enough, right? So see how pretty, just like, you know, like a lot of people are like, oh man, I don't need to learn scales, and I don't want to learn scales, and and this is not a way to learn how to play music. And hey man, did you just hear that? Like that's like, there's a lot of music waiting to happen there. I mean, music is happening even with just the scale, right? So if I start getting creative with it, you know, and just start taking some of them notes and putting them in different orders, I'm already going to start to make music. Here I go. Ready? So I'm just, you know, like that last lick is just down the scale. Or, you know, you could go up. Or put a little slop on it, get some double stops. You hear how pretty that, this is kind of like a nice way for that second octave is kind of a nice way for the harmonica, a diatonic harmonica, to get a little Stevie Wonder kind of quality. So you want to kind of stay away from that 3-draw natural, okay? It can be rough, okay? If you hit the 3-draw natural, it's the flat 5. So that's like the same note as the 4-draw bend in cross harp, and it can sound awful. Ready? Everything's good. Just wonderful. I'm having a beautiful day. And then... everything goes wrong. Okay, so you want to stay away from that note. That note's also the 7-draw. Okay, so those are tricky notes to avoid because they're natural notes on our instrument, but you'll get used to it, I mean, if you're used to playing minor and cross, you're used to keeping the 3 bent all the time. So it shouldn't be too hard for you to get used to this in 12th, okay? So anyway, you can play some very pretty stuff. Some of the songs I play in 12th are like Sweet Lovin' with My Baby, the Sonia, oh my gosh, I know there's more than that. There's like one on every record I've ever done, okay? like one, right? I played some pretty stuff in this position with the first week I ever learned it back in like 98 with Heidi and the L-Cats, okay, which all that's on YouTube. Jason Ricci with Heidi and the L-Cats. When you listen to those recordings, it's Going to California and I think a song called, Going to California, I think it is. But when you listen to those, that was the first week I learned this position. I had heard Carlos earlier that week and then figured out what harp to pick up. And then I was in the studio and I heard that they were major chords, like pretty. I heard it was pretty sounding, right? Folky sounding. And I said, okay, cool. I'm going to try this, and I did, and it sounded great, and they loved it, and they kept it. And that was the first time I had ever played it live, or, which was on a recording, like in front of people. And, the good news is sometimes in the beginning when we're struggling with a position, we actually tend to be more melodic than when we learn it really well. Okay, so that's good news for you at home, that you're going to play some of the prettiest stuff that you ever played in this position this week. Okay, once you get the bends down and you're not hitting the wrong notes, you're going to... because you're going to be tentative, and you're going to be listening to the nature of the scale rather than trying to... which is also good. You need to learn to navigate it and get around. There's nothing wrong with knowledge, okay? But what I'm saying is in the beginning when you're a little tentative, you actually have like this more of a respect, for the melody, and because you're scared you're going to hit the wrong note, so you just stay at the right note, and then the next right note pops right into your head, and it's fun. It's fun to be in the beginning stages of stuff. Of course, it can also be frustrating. All right, that makes the 20-minute mark. That's probably too much talking and not enough playing. I hope you had a wonderful time, and practice your 12th position, work on your bends, and I'll just take you out with a little jamming.